Estamos live now. Okay, Penny, you can start.
Hello everyone.
This meeting
Hola,
is being recorded. The recording
hola
has
todos y
stopped.
todas. We are
This
in
meeting
the
is being
fourth
recorded.
session of Power to the Commons. We are very happy to have here three storytellers who will take us through their own experience of the commons through blockchain particularly. And, oops, give me a second. Yep. And this is more to see. This is commoning blockchain technology, transformative potential beyond individual applications, empowering grassroots communities and strengthening collaborative initiatives. We are happy to have here our first JJ Campuzano from Mexico, a hacktivist, technologist and co-creator of Cypherpunk Nightmares. Chuy Garcia, also from Mexico, from the Rancho State, developer and explorer in decentralized governance. And the second JJ, Adibrata, from Indonesia, from GUDSKUL, an educator, artist, who works at the intersection of art, pedagogy, and community. And today we are hosting the session between Alex Correa and myself and Luciana Fleischmann, which I'm sorry I don't have you here, but I will give you the floor to describe also why we're here today, while I'm just sharing with you the teaching schedule for today.
Thank you, Penny. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. It's a great pleasure to have you here today. This is the fourth teaching of a series of teachings related with the commoning practices and the Power to the Commons collaborative project that has been developed by the Arts Collaboratory Network during several years. We started in 2019 as a collaborative project, and we belong to a bigger and broader network of arts organizations. We are 25 current organizations that are coming from Asia, Middle East, from Latin America and Africa. And we are very much connected with artistic practices, with transformative practices also. And yes, and along all these years of the network, we've been joining and participating in different and several assemblies, residencies, exchanges, other collaborative projects between organizations from this network. And after some years, we realized it was like very important also not only to grow inside the network, but also to be more open with others and share some knowledges that we have growth along these years, but also listen from others and learn from others. So these kind of teachings we are developing are part of this purpose of being more open, to be more connected with other ecosystems, with other networks, with other initiatives, and how these ideas that we are like very much interested in can grow also together with others, and how can we make some common understanding of it. So this is why we are here, and we are very happy. We've been like developing different topics related with the commoning practices, and today we are with this more tech approach. So I will leave you with Penny and Alex, but the last thing maybe I can mention that we're gonna mention also at the end is that we still have 2 more sessions. Another one, do you have, Penny, maybe the
Yep.
Okay. Maybe
Okay.
or maybe you wanted to talk about
Yep.
it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just to say that we have 2 more sessions, one extra teaching that is going to be on the 5th of September, again at the same time, and it's about decentralized autonomous organizations. And our final one is a Commoning Clusters Plenary, where we bring everyone together to reflect along the way what we've done, but also where can we go thinking about the commons and how to imagine another world together. This one is going to be most likely at the last Wednesday of October, which, if I remember well, is on the 28th of October, and we will share more information with you all through our social media and other ways of communication, so you know about it as well. One thing also I would like to mention here and go back to the schedule is that we hope that we have time for questions from the audience. So if you have any questions you would like to ask specific storyteller or all of us together, you can write your question on the chat on Zoom. And I leave the floor for Alex to make further introductions. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny and Luciana. Yeah. So for me, it's a very special this session because I don't know, so many years ago, I tried to connect these different worlds. So the people that I know in technology, that the people I know in IC, I remember maybe in 2018 in Banga in Utrecht, I wrote about the free storytelling about the Bitcoin and tried to introduce the Bitcoin in the AC Arts Collaboratory. But now this section is very special because my only desire is to you, the people that know that I know in the blockchain ecosystem and the people in the AC school. So for me, it's very nice to have here JJ Campuzano and JJ Adibarta. I have to say that Chuy Garcia had a problem in the last moment with the pet, so sorry for that, but we have the opportunity to have a good conversation with two JJs, one from Mexico, United States, and other JJ from Indonesia. JJ Campuzano is a friend that I meet in streaming. The name is Cyber Pugneimer. Is a crazy streaming in the pandemic time because we every Friday we pass connecting maybe 5 or 9 hours talking about this technology and this topic. Give me a few minutes. I have to open the door.
Okay, well, since he's opening the door, I think I'm gonna probably take the floor, and because I see my name right there, and I
Yes.
have to say, I really like the introduction. It says probably one of the most poetic cypherpunks,
Sorry, because
and
I
this
am
is me, but this is him back. I already took the floor, my Alex, so I'm gonna start talking if you don't mind, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
I want that you talking and share your point of view and try to share all
Absolutely.
the things that you have to this connecting the commoning and the blockchain. So we are
A-
talking so many this topic. So share
Absolutely.
with us, please.
Like you were saying, very poetic. So let me start with the first line of the Crypto Anarchy Manifesto. The first line goes like this: a specter is haunting the modern world, the specter of crypto anarchy. For me, I wanted to start with that because that was my introduction to blockchain technology. That term, crypto anarchy, back in 2013, imagine 12 years ago, it's when I first started to know what this revolution was. So I want to talk about it because of how important cryptography is. Just to let you know, in World War II, it was decided by cryptography and the atomic bomb. In 1945, we defeated fascism in Europe. The spread of the Nazi Germany by Adolf Hitler was decided by these technologies alone. And after that, cryptography was actually almost weaponized as the same as an atomic bomb. This is the tools that we have. Crypto anarchy, when I first saw that term, I really got interested in it because I was I thought I was holding a tool when I first know about Bitcoin and blockchain technology, but this is not a tool. So this is a very important message. This is a frontier, you know? It's a living, breathing territory without borders, ruled by no kings and guarded by no gate, only by the cryptographic trust we forged together. That's the power of blockchain technology. And that also allowed me to understand that the digital commons are no longer fragile gardens, you know, like fenced by corporate walls. They are vast, ungovernable oceans of code driven by those who refuse to ask for permission. Those are the cypherpunks, you know, and that's what I want to talk about as well. The founders of the cypherpunk movement, Timothy May, John Gilmore, and Eddie Hughes. They founded the cypherpunk movement in 1992. And honestly, I am in the United States right now, and we're seeing the rise of fascism again. And I want to tell you something really, really important. I stand before you really fearless today, not because of the path that is in front of us, because I know it's going to be difficult. I stand with you today with no fear because of the path that lies behind us. We're standing on the shoulders of giants. So I ask for you, if that you're listening to me, to have no fear. The cypherpunk movement is alive and well, and that's what I wanted to start with. You know, that's my passion for it. When I started back in 2013, I saw the rise of the networks like Ethereum. We helped launch that network back in 2014, and I have been an evangelist of Ethereum ever since, even before it was only a white paper. And I truly believe in this frontier. So this is what I wanted to start with. And the intersection of blockchain and the digital commons, it's really, really important, because the commons, we thrive when we code as poets and we dream as engineers. So it's very, very important, because every transaction that happens on the blockchain, it's also an act of creation. And every line of code, a verse in the long epic of human freedom. That's how I want you to see it, you know? Human freedom still thriving. So this is a very important message. This has been my passion for the last 12 years. I dedicated my life to the spread of this technology. And that's why I started Cypherpunk Nightmares. That is a streaming that lasted for many, many hours so people could share. You know, that's the digital commons in essence. You know, it wasn't code, it wasn't just like, you know, just time wasted. We were talking about many different things, and people change, like lives change, you know. So that's why I want to tell you that this show that I had on YouTube, it really made a difference. For 3 years, every Friday, we got together and we talk about all this. So I'm very, very happy that, you know, it touched many, many lives. So I'm very happy to stand with you today as well. Thank you so much for the invitation. I think this is a very, very important conversation, especially today. Like I said, we live in very dangerous times, but that's why we need to keep fighting. The cypherpunk movement is a movement that we always keep fighting for privacy and freedom. So it's even today, we need to keep fighting. And that is my message to you today. So this is what I wanted to start, Alex.
Yeah, it's good to start. That's the only way, because the conversation is become better. For now, we want to start with conversation the JJ Adiprata. It's a good you introduce you, try to share the Good School project and your experience with the blockchain project, please.
Yeah, thank you, Alex Parcero. And thank you for JJ for good introduction about blockchain. Like for me, I am also it's very enlightened from like the short story that you tell like before. I'm JJ. I'm part of GUDSKUL. GUDSKUL is a public learning space, especially for the art and collective, based in Jakarta, and initiated by 3 collective, Ruang Rupa, Serum, and Grafis Suruhara. I'm part of Serum, so also right now manage GUDSKUL and a GUDSKUL collective study program. So like the idea when it's back in 2018, when the idea we have an opportunity to have a space, and then we have a discussion what kind of space that we can develop together with these 3 collective, Ruang Rupa, Serum, and Grafis Suruhara. And then the idea of school, quote unquote school, is coming up because we realize that most of our practice actually based on like the educational activities, like the workshops, working with the student, working with the teachers, and also Ruang Rupa did many workshops about the media arts or the curatorial and art critics during that time. So like a bit introduction about Ruang Rupa, maybe I can tell a bit that Ruang Rupa is initiated in 2000, and in 2003 they initiate OK Video Festival. It's like the international media art festival that introduced in Indonesia. Like we know like that in the early 2000, media art is something new, and then for us as a student at the time, like to see like the international artist work in Indonesia, like video arts or interactive arts, is something that's very interesting for us in early 2000. And then Ruang Rupa mostly focused on urban art and media art, and also brings kind of a curatorial topics into the scenes of contemporary art. And they start, I think it's since 2007. And then me as a Serum member actually already know some of the Ruang Rupa member, and then we having collaboration as a collective to working together, and then learning from Ruang Rupa and also other collective in Jakarta. And then the idea of ecosystem actually come up during this kind of relationships, like that we actually realize that like working together to strengthening our practices as a collective is something that very important for us, because like in Indonesia, like we are in terms of like the infrastructure that support the art and creativity, it's very few, like not really supported by the government. So we need to support ourselves and then sustain ourselves, like striving to how to sustain the artistic practice by the as a collective. And then I'm back to the story of GUDSKUL. And then in 2018, we, based on those experience, we initiate a kind of a school that focus on the collectivity. So art and collective we focus on, and then that's the the first batch that we start in 2018. So in the first two batch, in the first 2 years, we invite individual who interested in working as a collective. Maybe if I can share my slide or my notes, so
Yeah, please.
I can tell a bit more. This one. So this is the, can you see this slides?
Yeah, we can see them.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's the story of GUDSKUL, that we believe in working as a collective, and then we also believe that the ecosystem that connecting with the other friends, other practitioners in the art scenes and the collective, actually building our development of arts, contemporary arts. And then collective is one of the mode of working in actually in Indonesia. Like right now we have so many collectives or initiatives are growing as well. And then this is the collective study program that we initiate. We have 11 subjects: collective sustainability strategy, collective cultural discourse, art collective review, public relations, knowledge garden, special practice, intermedia, collective practice intelligence, articulation and curation, workshop, collective art laboratory. So this is the 11 subjects that we see as a angle or as a perspective in working as a collective. Like the collective have the perspective on how it could be sustained, on or how they can relating within space and their practice, or how they produce and distribute their own knowledge to their audience. So this is some kind of topics or subjects that we studied. And then maybe from this, and then we start to open this in 2018. And then this is the mapping of the participants from the beginning. Mostly start with some area in Indonesia, and then in 2021, it's first time to more international, and then we actually at the time, at the moment, we open call for participants with the time zone, because into 21 is still pandemic still happening, and then all the activities are happening on Zoom, and we did kind of an open call for the collective participants based on the time zone. Like we are in Jakarta in Indonesia as GMT +7, and then we invite like the -4 and +4. So we invite time zone from the +4 to +10. And then there are some participants from Kyrgyzstan to Taiwan. So actually this is the consideration of the practicalities. So otherwise it will be very confused, like if we open for international and it's someone from like from Latin America, for example, it could be very challenging for them to join. So that's, I think, part of our consideration to open this only for these time zones. And then yeah, actually 21st and 22nd, actually it's in the preparation of Documenta 15. And then the idea is like to present all the final presentation of the batch in Fredericianum in Kassel, and then to invite them as an artist collective also to participate in the Kassel as well. So we have 8 collective come to Kassel, and then preparing their presentation. And also then in 2022 there is another batch, in the 5th batch. It's also come to Kassel as well. So there is try to build a connection between the previous batch to the next batch. And then it still happened, the program now we are have a joint program with Sandberg and the Apple in Amsterdam. And then from there they also have their own participant from the Apple, for example. They open for more international collective participant. Right now we have from Mexico and also from Iran. And then in this year they are learned together in Amsterdam. And from Sandberg Institute, actually it's they open call for the, I think, for the European collective participants only. And then actually the idea of later become a block temu jalar and using blockchain, actually we start to think how we can keep this, like the network of the alumni or the participants, to keep connected. And then to so the relationship is not only happening only in the particular year, but also like the participant from different year also keep connected through our digital platform. So I think the idea of temu jalar actually comes from what we think is like our necessity to keep connected with the ecosystem, with the network that already built during the program. So I start introduce the temu jalar. I'm sorry if it's too long, but yeah, I will run through all the slide, and then later we can discuss. So temu jalar comes from 2 Indonesian words. Temu means meet and jalar means bread. So with this 2 combination of words, what we are imagine is like this is the space that the member can meet, and then the member can spread and then connected also through different ecosystem or through different communities. It's initiated by GUDSKUL, but actually the idea of blockchain is something that very curious about, and how we thinking is what we're thinking is how we can use this benefit of technology to our own practices, and then we are actually still on the development of these ideas, and yeah, we are really wants to have some other perspective or other input, how we can develop this together. So and then this is the interface of Temu Jalar right now. You can check in the URL play.temujalar.art. So here the interface is kind of a game. So it's like a 2D map cities games that every collective can join as a member, and then they can initiate their own collective and then have their own virtual space in Temu Jalar, and then can connect it with the other member, and then we try to accommodate these kind of meetings into something new. For example, like to facilitate the collaboration, or like to finding a new economy model that working for all the members. And then like the idea of blockchain is actually it's something that we can experimenting with, and then like because of the values of the blockchain itself, like for example the decentralization, it's something that we think is quite similar with the collective value that we believe. Like this is some notes that came up during the idea of the Temu Jalar to become a tool to connect the ecosystems, that and then to bring the artists or art collectives and cultural worker, and then to connect what, or to create possibilities of collaboration between the members or between each collective as well. And then there is no geographical boundaries, because here in Temu Jalar, like collective with separate hundreds of kilometers are the neighborhood now. So that's the idea also, like to go beyond the geographical boundaries. Yeah, and then about the shared ownership and care for the resource, like actually it's also some of our consideration how we see this can accommodate by blockchain actually. Yeah, this is some of the interface that you can see, that you can build your own space, and then you can decorate your own space and create some events in your space as well. And you can have kind of a make your own avatar as well. But actually the things is that come up during the development is actually can Temu Jalar can bridging more physical interaction or physical events. So it is just a tool that connect between the locals or between the physical events that happens somewhere in other region, and then connected. And I think it's still a question until now, and how the members see this digital platform is only a tools, so not to live here, like not to live in here as avatars, but like this avatar is actually we can be ourselves in the real life. So not only like anonymous, but it is your representation. So it will be connected. So Temu Jalan actually the things that we really thinking so much is this is not for everyone that that interested to join or to be here, but this is the network of friends. So it's friends of friends that when you are register or become a member of Temu Jalan, it means you are connected with the other collectives, and then it's so the member of Temu Jalan here is actually have the real collectives than the existing collective as well. So that's what we imagine with this platform. So there is no anonymous people that suddenly come up and then build the collective, but it's more kind of a have a like a validity of other friends that I know them. So the idea is like to make Temu Jalan is kind of a open-ended invitation with to some friends of friends.
JJ, so nice. This application is very nice. The experimentation that you have to try to connect it to principles and try to enjoy and to get the better of this technology blockchain. I want to get back to this topic because for me it's a very important that we have this conversation to us. So JJ Campuzano and JJ Ibarta, I want to get, I have some questions for you because I think that I want your reflection about this. What the affinities do you see between with three principles that like a decentralization, autonomy, transparency, truth, connecting with the commons practice? Because all the time in the projects with the community, this word is emerging: decentralization, transparency, truth. But in the Web3 also, this is the fundamental words. What do you think about this connection?
So that's going to be for me, right?
Yeah.
So that is a very good questions because I've been involved with Ethereum for over 12 years. And I think Ethereum embodies, the Web3 principles. They are the DNA of a healthy digital commons. For example, decentralization ensures that no single authority can capture or censor the shared space. That's really, really important. So that's really about autonomy, empowers participants to govern themselves. That's also really nice. The fact that I can initiate a blockchain transaction and I don't have to ask permission, to any bank or government, that is really, really powerful. Just as in self-managed communities, just like the ones that my partner here, JJ, was talking about, self-managed communities where rules emerge from consensus, it's not by decree. So I really like it. The transparency of blockchain, it makes the invisible visible. The obscurity that governments had and institutions and everything. Transparency brings everything to light, along with the open ledgers of blockchain and the auditability of it. I think that's actually really, really nice to keep the power accountable, And finally, trust, trust that is hard coded into protocols like Ethereum. It removes the need for blind faith, in intermediaries, replacing it with verifiable truth. And I really believe this is a really good combination. This is the Web3. This is the new internet that we're building, going back to the original internet back in the 80s when everything was decentralized. The future cannot be decided by governments or corporations. In my opinion, this is really important. Blockchain technology allow us to really fight back every transaction, everything that you make, every decentralized application. When I first saw Ethereum, and I saw the first decentralized applications coming up on it, and the first decentralized the DAOs, like that, the first DAO. I was really, really amazed by it. I was part of it. I was part of the first DAO in 2016. I saw the failure of the first DAO when it got hacked back in 2016. So my career has been really, really deep into the evolvement of Ethereum, as a network. And I'm very, very proud to be part of it and be one of the founders, of Ethereum, because this is really a worldwide revolution. Like JJ Adibrata was saying, we don't have borders. He was talking about time zones and, like Indonesia and Taiwan and all those countries. And I really see how the global community it's thriving. This is a global thrive. And I really think that the digital commons and Web3 are not separate movements. There are two sides of the same coin, I believe. One is philosophy and the other one is the architecture. And together they form like a living network where communities are sovereign. And I really like that, the sovereignty of these communities. Resources are always shared, and the act of participation in itself, it's a declaration of freedom. I like that. I really like that. How if you become part of this blockchain, you're embodying freedom, and I think that's really, really powerful. And I think that's the affinity that I see between the digital commons and Web3. This is my opinion, that Ethereum and the Web3 revolution are stronger than ever. They are actually like capturing even more interest by institutions. We see the price, we see the economies, and it's not just about the money. It's about the communities. It's about fixing the money. We can fix many different things. The Renaissance in Florence in the 1500s, it happened because the money changed, like the gold currency, the gold standard happened in Florence, with the Vatican and the Medici family and the transformation of money. And I really think that we are on the verge of a digital renaissance. That's how I call it. This new revolution is the invention of new money. So this is very, very powerful. The fact that the digital commons is going to have its own money and its own territory, which are blockchain networks, and its own rules, which are like the open protocols that we are developing right now. So I'm very excited to be part of it. And I think this is the intersection that that brings us today, to this talk. So this is really my opinion about it.
Hi, JJ Campuzano and JJ Idrobalta. What do you think? Because in the good school is very connected with the commons and the community work. But when you listen about this fundamental with three, what do you think?
Yeah, I think from the perspective of artist collective, I think this is we see some like similarities, especially like for us, like in GUDSKUL, this is like a collective of collectives. So the similarities between the principle of like the Web3, the transparency, trust, decentralization, and like how we make a decision is something that we see this can like the Web3 can accommodate this kind of imagination in more translating to digital, for example, and online, and also maybe in more like a large scale. I'm not saying like more implementing in more expanded network, and then I think it's like this current technology is like promising for our kind of practices, and then yeah, as JJ also mentioned that the power itself, it's something that actually we are really like the power and critics that we are really talking about. It's something that actually we can find a way how we can respond to those kind of things through this Web3 principle. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So for me, it's because in the beginning we start the conversation in the Cypherpunk Nightmares is we very love in the fundamental the Cypherpunk philosophy, but now we can see the governments and institutions and the crypto bros that trying to use this technology. So the second question here is about the how can we prevent this technology from reproduce logics of exclusion of technocracy, because it's a difficult in Platodero especially because maybe we try to work in the community that have very distancing with the technology. So when I listen the crypto bros, I am scary about the how to use this technology for the commons, for example, and how we can prevent this exclusion and the technocracy. What do you think about this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very important question. How do we prevent exclusion, and technocracy? I think that's the main question. And I think we can do that by ensuring, especially talking about Ethereum and blockchain technology again, the architecture of these technologies they have to have three characteristics: open, forkable, and resistant to capture, which they call it censorship resistant. So let me repeat that again. These characteristics are very, very important. Open, that means it's transparent. All the code, it's always viewable and audible in real time. Forkable, what does that mean? That we can always, as a community and as a blockchain network, it can decide to fork and to change itself. It's a living organism. And the third, and it's very, very important, resistant to capture, from the start. This is very important because the power remain distributed, not only in code, but in culture. Like the culture of blockchain technology and Ethereum, it's decentralized through education, like JJ was saying, accessible tools, which is online and the digital tribe, and the governance models of DAOs that favor participation over expertise alone. So I think that, like I said, those characteristics are very, very important. And in my opinion, the antidote to technocracy, how do we prevent technocracy, is not to reject technology, but to democratize it, democratize its mastery. That's how you prevent technocracy. When the power it's only within a few people, that's when you get the technocracy. We can prevent that with blockchain technology. Lowering the barriers to entry, that's also very, very important. That's how we prevent technocracy as well. And translating these complex systems, like blockchain, into shared language. We need people that can translate this, that can make this into something that you can understand, and embedding community consent into protocol design. That's also very, very important. And finally, if the network belongs to everyone, no one can own the gates, and that's I think, in my opinion, that's how we can prevent all of this. Like I said, those characteristics, the distributed governance of DAOs, the open protocols that we have, and overall the censorship resistant. That's very, very important. Honestly, I think that's one of the most important ones, because if a government of an institution were able to change, like a blockchain network, then it would be very, very difficult, for us to do something. So I believe that blockchain networks are thriving because no institution can capture it. Even they're very powerful, and they're very powerful companies, maybe trying to buy into Bitcoin or Ethereum. And we see like these governments like Donald Trump, trying to, like get into all these technologies. But we are stronger than that. The power of the network and the censorship resistant, it's here, and Ethereum is thriving just because of that, because it cannot be shut down. And that's really, really cool, actually. I believe that's very kind of like cyberpunky. Like cyberpunk comes from the counterculture, like the punk. I consider myself a cyberpunk, the ones that is like the counterculture, the ones that wants to fight for freedom. And I believe that blockchain technology is a tool to fight technocracy and to fight exclusion. So that's my opinion.
So nice. Thank you so much. And DJ, you want to say something, or you want to ask? Yes, yes.
Yeah, for me, like like I think we can use this kind of technology to be more like see that this is the potential to implement to the networks, and then we can see that this is also can be benefit for us, like for example to make a like a solidarity economy. Like we can try to to see this can be yeah, benefit for 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 our networks. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. So I am very curious what you think, because when you talk with the technology with the people, something that very scary for some people is the climate change, the problem with the waters, no? What the water is a commons also. So I want to generate other question, because we have less time today, because Chuy Garcia don't can join. But so I want to to get this topic about what do you think about the relation with the technology and water? Like is two commons, no? The blockchain is water is other commons, but it's very complex. We try to understand how this marries that maybe maybe can work. But when the people told me that, I am very curious, because we have the open source, is the possibility to get the revolution and change the consumer to become to, but the people don't use open source. The people use Windows or use Mac. So the people but about the water. So what do you think about this problem, JJ?
Hey, yeah, perfect. Alex, I think your mic is having some issues, but let me take over and just take, the next question
JJ
about,
lost the audio, but you can
yeah,
this
definitely.
direction because we have a few minutes more, but yeah, I want to talk this topic.
Absolutely. I really think that, like crypto, blockchain technology, going back to it, like Ethereum and all that, it's just not about having a wallet, like it's not just about that. It's about cultural and educational on ramps, like that's very, very important because we need to have storytellers, we need to have something that, I don't know if you can see my slide, but this is what we started with. If you can see it, that's Cypherpunk Nightmares. Free your mind. That's what we began every show with this slide. This is like our main, like starting page where we started this talk about, like education and being like a decentralized school, about these type of technologies. Without these educational on-ramps, decentralization is an empty promise, in my opinion. Like, honestly, we need these kind of on-ramps because appropriation, like Alex was saying, it's inevitable when powerful actors, like the institution and governments, especially right now these days, they try to take over, they try to take over the narrative and the crypto bros, like Alexander was saying, like they're trying to like, take Wall Street, is trying to take over and all of that, which is why resistance, the cypherpunk movement must be continuous, both in code and in community. And that's what we share. Cypherpunk Nightmares, it's a community. This is the slides that we share where we like share the cyberpunk like ethos. This is the guide that we share every Friday, the Zoom session, and the fact that you can reach us on Telegram. We have a community there, and then we like deliver an NFT, like which is like a non-fungible token. It's like a token on Ethereum that says you were there. It's a proof of attendance. It's very cool stuff, very good technology for educational purposes because we have many people that began their journey with me. They have no idea what, blockchain technology was, what Ethereum was, and now they're giving talks and they're like experts in their own fields. But this is what we share, this cyberpunk culture, these visuals, these like visuals that are very futuristic, very engaging. I'm a visual artist myself, and I like to, use the visual, like the visualization of something really engaging, something really different that people can say, wow, what is this, So I think resistance these days means designing protocols that cannot be captured, just like I said. And funding open source development is also like really, really important. And building peer-to-peer economies that operate beyond the reach of the institution and governments. Those are like the choke points, so we can operate these peer-to-peer economies and without being touched beyond the reach of that. So I think that's very, very important to prevent all this appropriation, like I said, and the question, like that, it's very, very important. So with these visuals, it's what I want to give you an idea. That's how we talk in Cyberpunk Nightmares. Very open, no scripts, no nothing, just like talking about, like different topics that every week. And I think that's very, very, very powerful, So this is what I wanted to share with you guys, because this is what we did for like over 3 years, We that's how I met Alex back in the day in 2021. So we've been doing this for, for a few years, and it really meant a lot to a lot of people. So this is what we used to do. This is the pop-ups that you're seeing and the NFTs. People felt included, because we were giving them something, without expecting any money or anything. We're just come, just come and talk, and we'll have a good conversation. But this is it, This is Cyberpunk Nightmares, and this is definitely what I wanted to share with you, like this initiative, educational on ramps. Definitely that's the answer to that question.
Thank you, JJ. Sorry because you lose my audio, but here again. So yeah, we are trying to close this session, but I had one more question. What does it mean to you to imagine another world through art, technology, and community? I want to get your reflection about this. What is you imagine another world with this combination, the art, technology, and community?
And I love
JJ,
that question too. I don't know if I can go first and all that, because we need to keep technology human, but how do we do it? Like, what does I mean by that? How do we keep technology human? What I mean is that we can do that by putting into it shared rituals, like hackathons. It's one way to see them, when we come together, and Mexico had some really good hackathons. But not also that, we also have crypto art exhibitions, for example. We have community-led test nets, where we can, like, test different code, and even like public readings of code, like poetry even, So these events, like hackathons and all these like human events, they remind us that the network, it's made of people, not just like blocks and packets of data, So the most effective method is to design participation as a play, as co-creation even. Co-creation is also really, really powerful. When communities can come together and co-create some art, it's also very, very important. And so the act of building itself becomes a cultural gathering. It's like, like this meetup where we can share our different cultures and views of life and everything, and not just like an engineering task. Like, it's not just about engineering, it's about knowing that the technology is also human. So that's how I see it. The shared rituals, I think that's what like makes it very, very, like very human. So I think that's my opinion on that.
Thank you, JJ. And Parcero, what do you think about?
Yeah, yeah, I also agree with JJ, my friend JJ, like how to make technology humans. Like, I mean, how we can see that, or asking like, is it, our technology can accommodate our emotion, like, or like, can technology to be less rigidity. Like, I mean, like, if we have code, like the code that uh, and then how we see that code, we can like inject some yeah, I don't know, like, and then the important thing as well is like, how we see technology, that how we see technology for our benefit, our own benefits. Like, yeah, it could be uh we can have many answers for that. But like the temu jalan itself, actually, it's your question is also same with our question, how we can use technology to and art and community together, and then we can use that for our own benefit. And I think it's still be our question like for us until now.
Okay, JJ, Ibrata, thank you so much. So I want to open the session. Maybe somebody have the question. Is the moment to ask. If not, is the somebody want to ask something? Okay, but for me it's great because this section, and I am very grateful with you, JJ and JJ, because coming for this. Very sorry for Chuy Garcia that have problem with the pet, the dog, but I hope the dog is better in the moment. But so it's the beginning, the conversation. This section is the beginning of the conversation. The next section in the September 5, we continue these topics about the blockchain and this possibility to connect it with the commons. So the DAOs, like JJ said in the beginning, is the good way to use this technology. But all we have the other opportunity to continue this conversation, because for this resource, this investigation, with Penny and Luciana, is very important to get more point of view. So I am very grateful again. I have to say, JJ Campuzano and JJ Barta, all my heart is open for you all the time. So I don't know, Penny and Luciana, what do you say something? Because the next session is in September 5. Is this session very good because we have three women, Teresa, Lex. Teresa Teresa is from what country? The Euro, I don't remember, but Lex is from Mexico, and other Dorian is another woman that shared experience in the community and blockchain. Yeah, so we are. Penny, you want to say something?
No, no, thanks. Just to say thanks to the two JJs, basically, for such an insightful discussion on blockchain and your projects and ideas. I mean, thank you so much for sharing the stories.
Thank you. I think it's a very, very important conversation to have, the blockchain and digital commons. I'm very passionate about it. And just as a final thought, I want to invite you, everybody, to get into the cypherpunk culture, because we reject the idea that the future is already decided by corporations or governments. We reject that. And I believe that through technology we can give it like a house. That's the structure, and through art we can give it shape, and through communities we give it life. So that's my final thoughts. That's really, really important, that technology gives it like a house, art gives it like all the shape that it needs inside that house, and with the communities it's not an empty house anymore. We need to keep that house full, and that's how we make it full of life. And these are my final thoughts, that this is very important, the intersection of art, blockchain architecture, and the digital commons. Thank you so very much, for this conversation. It was very, very nice for me to talk about all these important topics. Such a pleasure.
Nice, JJ. And Ibrata, Adibrata, you want to say something to close?
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me to share like what we do back in Jakarta, and then very nice to meet all of you, and also JJ. Thank you very much for sharing. Also, it's very enlighten me, and then maybe I can somehow we can connect and then we can continue this kind of discussion together again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so
Thank you so
Luciana.
much.
See you on the 5th of September. See you. Bye-bye. Bye.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye for the audience also. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye. Thank you
Stay
so
more
much.
for the future.